We are here in Copenhagen at the non-event, and
We are.
when you came to my house yesterday, we agreed. I think it was the third time you visited my house.
Yeah.
And
Good fun.
Yeah, it was. And we have now done print sample TV for, is it a little bit more than a year, or?
I think
Or
it's
is it
more than
more?
that.
Is it
It's
2
more
years?
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2.
2 years.
Yeah.
Time flies by.
It does.
Yeah. Yesterday, you and Jan did 21 new episodes.
We did.
What can we expect?
So this round of Print Sample TV is really international
Oh.
because for the last 6 months, I've been hitting, I think, every trade show that you can imagine that involves print. So from August in Australia, and then September in Brazil, and then October in Chicago, and then Japan, and then Dallas, and then Berlin.
Got Denmark.
And we had, you were exactly right. We were in Denmark, and then we were in Brussels. There was, we've been everywhere.
Yeah.
So as part of
one of the things we did in 2019 was the first time we did Print Sample TV live.
we did live.
How was that for you?
It was brilliant because it was a chance to take the best samples from a print show live and show people what they should be looking at while they're at the print show, and also to give people who couldn't come to the show a flavor of what they were missing.
Yeah.
So all the international samples that we picked up, not from the non-live shows, formed a lot of the basis of the 21 episodes that we did yesterday.
I just have to. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
I'm just a little bit curious. Have you got any feedback from any of the vendors that we showed print samples from live
So
regarding how they think of it, or how
You-
is it valuable to them? Or?
You know, the funny thing is, I think that it is valuable to them, and I think they're still struggling to figure out how to work with it. For a lot of hardware vendors, their world is speeds and feeds and selling machines,
Yeah.
right? They don't really, most of them have really great workflow stories, and that makes me sad. And even fewer of them have what I call a print sample strategy. So their
Is that something
solution...
that comes in like last minute thing when?
It's not even that it's last minute. It's that their concept of a print sample is a specific sample, usually one sheet of a stock photo that they bought from Getty that shows off their machine in the best possible light. So maybe their particular machine does blues really well. So then they go to the stock library, and they find the
there
really...
There goes G7 and ISO 12.
Because if you look at company print samples from the major hardware vendors, it's not about G7, it's not about Fogra.
I was just kidding when you say
But
one is good for blue, one is good for red, right?
I know, but that's what they do. And so what happens is when you go to a trade show and you see piles of print samples sitting side by side, and there are these single sheets of Getty images, you go, wow, this is really brilliant. Well, yeah, because somebody took the Getty image, which was brilliant to start with, or it wouldn't have been on Getty, and then they bring it in and they color manage it just so specifically for that machine on that paper, okay? Well, that might not be how you print.
But can I then ask you a question? Because one of the things I forgot to ask you, which was actually asked at one of the trade shows, I can't remember which one, but there was a person that asked me, so what are the criteria when you pick a sample and you decide to put it on Print Sample TV? What are the criteria for you to evaluate whether you think it's a great print sample?
Sellability.
Yeah,
and
so you can have an ugly print sample, but if it
sometimes,
sells,
right? So
it's not about beauty, basically.
It is about the sellability for the purpose for which that piece was done. So if you
when
look
you
at
spoke in the episode where we spoke about the Reso printer, you said it was. I think you said it was very good for textbooks. It was very good for specific.
And for transaction work, so
envelopes.
A Reso.
Just as an example, I'm just trying
You
to
want
understand.
if you are a government printer, if you're a municipality, if you're a university printer, if you're a secondary school, if you're a church, where what you're printing
I'm sorry.
isn't being judged.
Yeah, but sorry,
on the
I'm not trying to endorse specific technologies and specific segments. I'm just trying to understand from what. So when you say sellability, that means that when you grab a sample at a trade show, you talk to the vendor obviously to figure out
Sometimes.
what equipment has been used. Oh,
Hopefully they have it on there, although many of them don't.
Okay. So, because I think that one of the things that we really want to push in 2020 from a print sample TV perspective is that we can try to tie the sample with the substrate and who is actually capable of printing it, right?
Yeah.
That would be like awesome, that you see something on TV and then you immediately can go to INKISH and you can see who is capable of reproducing this kind of work.
I think there's a lot of value. So printers, people who do print for a living, they struggle because for many of them, they've been printing the same things for years. They have their stable of customers. Those customers order the same things. But things do change. Technology changes. The equipment that's on their floor today was probably not the equipment that was on their floor 10 years ago.
Likely.
But their sales guys are still selling the same thing that they sold 10 years ago, and their customers are essentially still buying the same thing that they bought 10 years ago, even though the equipment is capable of so much more.
So it's also a matter of trying to push the boundaries on and showcasing what's possible, basically.
And think about it. When we do print sample TV in the current format, what we're looking for are the things that will give an average printer new ideas on things that they can sell using the equipment that they already have. Now, I may show a piece that was done on a KM1, or I may show a thing that was done on an Iridescent, or something that was done on a T-Series HP inkjet or a Ricoh inkjet. But in many ways, that's almost not relevant. What's relevant is, here is this idea that a designer and a buyer of design got together on, and they created the thing that is going to take their story forward. Might be a book, might be a magazine, might be a brochure, might be a box, right? Might be labels, might be door hangers. I mean, it could be anything. Excuse me. But they realized their vision.
Here we can cough live.
There we go. But they realized their vision into something that told a story. And it was compelling enough that as I was walking by as a casual observer of things that were around, I said, wait a minute, that's cool. That's something that other printers should know about.
So it's also about sharing experiences.
It is. And so there's two purposes to print sample TV. One is to get printers to think outside of what they're producing right now, but the other is to make the vendors think. If I'm selling hardware and I'm selling the same old way to the same group of people, I'm just upgrading equipment with the same group of people I've always, okay, maybe I win away from another vendor every once in a while. But I don't have it as part of my responsibility to help that printer that I've sold this equipment to make money with that equipment. I'm not going to create a loyal, bonded relationship. So what I'm hoping is that with print sample TV, the vendors, as we look at identifying for every print piece, what's the paper or the substrate, what's the corrugate, what's the folding carton substrate, what's the marking device, whatever it is, whether it's an EFI 16H wide format printer, or it's a Ricoh VC7000, or it's a KM1, or it's a Kyocera Task Force, whatever it is. And then, what happened after the marks got onto the substrate? How did it get finished? How did we turn it into something that then became usable by the person who ordered that print? What were the steps? What were the machines?
Looking much more into the final application as well, basically.
Yeah. And then think about one of the print sample TV episodes we did in the last round. The unpacking was fun, and hi Sameta, you need to send me another box.
Yeah, Sameta, we were expecting.
We need another box. The one with the menus from one of my restaurants.
Yeah, I remember.
Right? So that is
That's the one where we expect to get steaks with a discount.
Oh, of course you do. And so, and you're invited. So the thing that you look at, this is a non-pulp based paper. It's stone-based paper. And we use it at the restaurant because
you can just put it in the dishwasher.
It's almost indestructible. You can just about run it through the dishwasher. And we love it. And the reason that I wanted to tell that story, even though it was our menu, was because if I'm a printer and I'm serving the restaurant trade, why would I not want to go find out about that paper?
Look
right?
into whatever
And so that one
creates
was
a value proposition that takes away the competition, basically, right?
That, and
Pat,
you can do it.
I know that you can talk forever.
Yeah, I know, but I can't because we got other people.
Yeah. Love you.
We'll do this again.
Love you.
What, this time next year?
Yes. Are you coming?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This time next year.
Great having you.